Christian, but a baby in Christ. I'm trying to find that balance of bringing those two together and keeping all my technical skill, but still being able to like fall into praise. So I'd like to hear how y'all kind of navigate that.
That sounds like you.
That sounds like you. Right on my alley. Hello, love. Yes. So I'm gonna break this down the easiest way I know how. So we'll start with some basic things. One, I understand where you're at because you have so much to offer. So I'll start with one thing I learned early on: less is more when in worship setting. Because our job as musicians in a worship setting is very different from our jobs in a secular setting. Because we're not really up there to display what we have. We're there to support what's happening around us in the atmosphere. So one, less is more. Two, don't lose your technical side.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. You're going to be like a great beacon for a lot of people. Because people will see what you have and they will, Lord willing, will strive to move up to that level. Mm-hmm. So don't lose what you have, because we're not going to be stagnant here. You know, we're talking about progressing and becoming better at the things that we do. So there will come a time where your technical skill will be needed. There are songs that are very technical, challenging, that I'm sure, you know, Pastor Johnny would love to do, you know. And so it's nice to have someone there with that ability. But don't be discouraged. Use that ability to help other people. But yes, in a worship setting, stay in the pocket. Everybody know what that means by stay in the pocket, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so what stay in the pocket means is, in its simplest form, play your part. Like if your leader tells you this is what I want you to play that. Now you can fluff it up a little bit, just a little bit, but stay in the pocket. Because when you go too far out of that, then it becomes, I tell you like I tell the Harp and Gold team, if the people in the congregation are watching you, then it's a concert. If they're focusing on God, it's a worship service. Does that make sense? Okay.
I'd say, like, for me, jumping into this, you know, I've when I was in college, there was this incredible drummer, and I didn't actually realize he was a really good drummer for a long time. I mean, it took forever. There was one time I just randomly heard him cut loose on the drums, and I just didn't know he could do all of the flashy stuff because he was so in tune with the rest of the band and the level that he always played with the band. He always chose the people around him, not his own skill. And so that's a good one. That's a good, I mean, what Jonathan said is absolutely true, play in the pocket. But the other part of it is, you know, you do have that remarkable skill set and you are comfortable. And so now you have, because you're comfortable, you have the ability to put more, focus on God instead of focus on the instrument. Does that make good sense? Absolutely. So, I mean, what I've found is when I quit focusing on an instrument, my worship level goes up, and I believe that it opens up, the room for other people to enter into good worship, so, well, not good worship, but powerful worship. So.
Amen.
So my question is, what are y'all's best advice for navigating worship culture? What I mean is, I come from a Seventh-day Adventist church. I think this happened 2 weeks ago where I was playing and then the pastor came up and he said, give me a chord. I had no idea what he meant because we don't do that in the Adventist church. I didn't realize that he just wanted me to play a chord and hold it. That was a new concept to me. So Pastor Shannara, also in our next practice, she explained it to me, and she explained more things about what he means whenever he says to do this. So what are y'all's best advice for navigating that?
I don't mean to take them out, but this is really important. This is really, really recording. Let me just say this. As a worship team, this is something else that Pastor Johnny taught me when I was on the worship team that I used to think was cute. Because it's true. It's coming from, especially if I was playing in more predominantly black church, you know, a lot of things are just known. Like you just sort of know where it's going to happen, where you're going to go. But one thing that I learned is you all need to learn how to speak the same language. So, like in your rehearsal time, like when we have rehearsals, I make sure that everyone understands, because not everyone speaks the same. I'm talking musical language. Yes, like when I say pompano, and like you may have no clue what that means. You know what I'm saying? And so that's something that you definitely want to do. Make sure, sit down, get together, especially if it's something that happens a lot. Pastor Johnny gives signals, you know, and his signals don't change. And it helps keep everyone in alignment, and you know what's going to happen. So you have to make sure you speak the same language before you get on the stage, and that will help you with that. And so definitely talk to, who was it?
Pastor Shinara. Yeah,
just talk to her. Yeah, she'll definitely hit you up with that.
And just adding with that, I'd say it goes back to relationship, right? That's what he's talking about. So the more time you hang around and spend with each other, the more you're going to have that common language, and also the more opportunities you have to say, hey, what was that you did last week? What was that funky chord you told me to play? And I was like looking like that. Like, you know, you have those opportunities to get that. That relationship is the foundation block for your success, because it provides you with all of that communication opportunity to come back and, you know, learn from each other and to ask those questions. And I would even challenge you to request feedback, right? So, hey, you know, man, I felt like I kind of really struggled at this section of the service. Did you notice that? Sometimes we hear, no, I thought you played great, sister. I thought you played great, brother. Oh, okay, well, I guess I was maybe in my head. You know, like, oh, actually, I'm glad you talked about that. Yeah, we kind of missed where we were going as a group, blah, 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 blah. You'll get that feedback, right? But, you know, sometimes your leadership will appreciate you seeking out that feedback, because sometimes messages are tough to deliver. So knowing that the team is hungry to grow and willing to accept shows character of your heart that will allow us to invest that knowledge in you with more confidence. The word says that we don't throw our pearls amongst the swine. So leadership is careful with the pearls that we deposit, and you know, it's very helpful to seek that feedback and to continually seek that feedback. And that really does come out of relationship. You're going to be more willing to seek it, more willing to receive it, more able to understand it, right? Because, you know, even with just talking about the same language, just all of us come from different backgrounds of life. So just speak in English, I speak English different than you do, so I may mean something different with just a plain English word that's not a technical term, and it may mean something very different to you. So again, that relationship puts that all in context.
Also, in addition to seeking out feedback, give feedback. Leaders aren't migrators. For instance, at a church I worked at very early on, I had a pastor who was very exuberant, and at times in worship, he'd be like, give me this song. And I had never heard of that song in my life. And I
like you are my family.
Okay, how anxious does that make you? And mortified and embarrassed and ashamed when you don't know it. Give that feedback, because they're not moderators, and it's always, I find that this format is always helpful. I would go to my pastor, or rather, eventually that started bothering me so much, I went to my pastor and I said, and this is the format I use, when you X, I feel Y. And he didn't understand. He was sending me into a spiral of anxiety every time he did that, and it was pulling me out of the presence and getting me caught up in my soul and like my emotions, and I was getting offended, and I hate being offended. I hate feeling offended. And so, and when I told him, I thought he had no clue. He had no clue that it had that effect on me. And he didn't stop doing that. What he started doing is he started pulling me in, being like, these are the songs that I feel when I really feel the Spirit moving. These are the songs that bubble up out of me. And that made us closer, and it opened my eyes to a whole new repertoire that I never knew existed before. And we eventually began to be able to play very well off each other. And that never would have happened had I not given him that feedback, because he just wouldn't have known. Like, and you gotta make sure your heart's right when you do that, but don't be afraid to give feedback in addition to seeking it out.
And just rounding that out really quickly. So can I just get you guys to raise your hands? How many are in leadership in your worship teams? And how many of you are members on the worship team? Okay, so those, so I'll speak primarily to the group of members. So what he's talking about, there's also a time and a place.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's sometimes even more important than, you know, the what is said. It's the how and where it is said, right? So keep that in mind. It works in business, it works in church. You always, if you have a disagreement, you have that behind closed doors, in private. When you walk out of that room, what the decision is made, and you walk out of there and you support that decision, even if in your heart you don't think that's the right thing, right? That's what unity and submission looks like. So you disagree in private, you can ask us questions, you can say, I'm struggling with this. Sometimes the answer may be, I understand we don't have time to hash this out right now. I need you to trust me on this, and we're gonna go out and we're gonna do X, Y, Z. We said, you got it. X, Y, Z will be done. And you go out there, and sometimes it's your role to say, hey, we really need to do X, Y, Z. Even though I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
And he says, I don't think that's right. It's the right thing to do, brother. It's the right thing to do. It's my job to be that support, right? It goes back to all of that. Does that make sense? So, time and place.
That's so true.
Time and place.
That's so true.
I also think there's a really practical thing that you could do, and it's simple. There are pads. You can download them on iTunes, and they're one for every key. And if somebody asks you just for a random chord, just turn on the pad. There's a one.
Y'all laughing, but
So
I do it all the time. All the time.
But if that's all they're asking for,
Yes.
it's a really
Hillsong,
practical.
Bethel, they all do that.
And honestly, if
They all
it's
do
in
that.
the key of your worship set, you can worship over it.
You can play over
You
the
can
pad.
just, let it just roll
Yeah.
the whole service. It's not a big deal.
Go ahead, love.
So you talk a lot about relationship within the worship team, and I would just be interested to hear kind of how you guys have fostered that in your own worship team. I think Jeremy mentioned that you felt that was excellently done at your church. So just because it is important and it's not always the case.
It's not, but I think that from the very beginning, for everyone to be expected to nurture and take the new person in together, like have that discussion with your worship team, like this person is coming in. Anytime we have a new person, I've been led, there's going to be a new person, I need you guys to embrace this person too. It's like one of us. We need to make sure we're checking on him, we're, making sure that he's okay, and we go out to dinner, we plan things together, and actually sincerely mean it. Sincerely mean it. That's probably more key than just doing the action. So we do love the new people. We do love everybody in the worship community. If we don't, something needs to change.
Yes.
I'd also say that kind of the structure of how you spend your time together in rehearsal even can really play a role in just the overall culture of your worship team. Just because I've been on worship teams or in choirs where literally you go in, you do whatever business you came to do, whether it's practicing a worship set or whatever, and you just leave. You don't have any friendships or relationships with anyone you're singing with. You're literally just singing together, and there's no it's even a kind of heavy feeling rehearsal, I'd say. It's unlike with the Levites where we're but we're cracking jokes, we're laughing, we're having fun while actually worshiping together. Like, that's good. Yeah.
You know, also one thing, going back to Jeremy, like, I feel like they have, I mean, it's not perfect, of course, but like, I look to their worship team as a model of unity, because when I go to their church and visit, it's like I'm at home. Like, that's why I was up there last night. That's my home. Just like here at home. But worshiping with them, you can feel this, like, I can't even explain it, but one of the things that I watched, like when he's leading a rehearsal, that I've tried to incorporate when I lead is, you know, he goes over the songs and they worship. And then Jeremy steps out from the keyboard and he brings his team together and they worship. They sing a song, there's no instrumentation, they worship. And I try to implement that when I'm leading, you know, after we've rehearsed those songs and gone over them. Okay, now we're gonna just worship as us and the King. And there's something so beautiful and so just like, it just like draws you, like you can't help but everybody's hearts be drawn to this one attention. All of a sudden, it's like I've had all of the clamor and the noise of everything that we're doing, and now it's like back to focus because we're about to lead a congregation into the throne room. And that was such a beautiful thing for me to witness every time I'm there. And I try to, you know, incorporate that here. And I did it, I think one of the last times I led worship, and it was just such a beautiful moment, especially in that sanctuary with the acoustics, and it was just like, and there's just certain things that, like little things like that you can just really feel, like you can physically feel the unity, but it takes, like everybody said, that spending time together and getting in each other's lives. Like I talk about it all the time, it's like, if we're not in each other's lives, if I don't have like any type of risk with these people, I'm not gonna worship like that. Like I know about Mark, you know, I bring my junk to Mark, you know, he knows what's going on in my life, he knows what's going on in my heart. And so when I worship with him, it's like there's that connection there, you know. But it's like if you're just in a room with a bunch of strangers and y'all come up and let's sing this song together and go home, it's like you've risked nothing. You've sacrificed nothing. You've literally just stood in a room, sang some songs, and counted some people, and gone home, and there's nothing in it.
Do you mind if I begin to interrupt?
Oh,
I think y'all had a little bit of